Have you ever opened up the cabinets and the refrigerator and they're looking pretty sparse, pretty bare? There's nothing in there. I can't possibly make a meal out of anything here. That's what we're going to talk about today. What to eat when the pantry is bare. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sutton's Days. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and we are all about pantry preparedness. And we have been working hard this month with the Beat Inflation Pantry Challenge. It has been a month-long challenge to learn how to use what we have in our kitchens instead of going out and going shopping, to inventory it, and to learn how to menu plan and to learn how to make something that instead of going out and buying it. There's been a whole series, and I will link the entire playlist at the end of this video and in the description box down below. But today we're going to chat about what we do when the pantry is bare. And I've been there. That's the first thing that I want to make you well aware of, is that I have been there with bells on more than once. I can remember eating air pop popcorn for the better part of a week because it's literally all I had. There was not even butter on that stuff. It took me a while to eat popcorn again. I can remember being so broke that literally a hot and ready pizza was my menu for the week, literally. So I understand. I've been there. I know food insecurity, and it's something that I have worked very hard to make sure that we don't ever see again. That kind of insecurity is something that can just, it messes with you. It really does. And there are so many people in this supposed world of plenty uh, that are so food insecure. And it's everybody from children to our senior citizens, our disabled, and just everyday people that have hit a bump in the road because the road is bumpy. It is never straight and narrow and smooth sailing. So the fridge is empty and echoing, right? And the freezer is holding on to some mysterious frosted over stuff in the bottom of it. And we're going to just not panic. Don't panic. Now's not the time to panic, okay? I'm going to show you how to make some creative, uh, unexpected, delicious meals from the absolute last few items in your pantry because it can be done. It may not be what you want, but it's something to fill your belly. And that's what we're going to be looking at. First, for a real quick recap, okay, of the Beat Inflation Pantry Challenge, we're empowering ourselves. That's what this is all about. We're empowering ourselves in the kitchen to save money, to reduce waste, because every time you throw away food, you're throwing away money, and to truly make the most out of our food. It's more important now than it has been in a very long time, even though I have thought it was very important all the time. People don't have the money to throw away. It's just not there. And so wasting food is not the way to make this happen, okay? So we're going to chat about why embracing the bare pantry moment is actually a good thing, because it can be. Why? Why can that be? Well, it's the financial pressure relief, okay? We're going to call it that. Instead of panicking, instead of feeling pressured to run to the grocery store or order takeout even when supplies are low, because you've been there, I've been there, right? You're empowered to use what you have. And that's really super important. It's kind of like this turning point in your pantry journey when you realize that you don't need to go spend that money because you can make do with what you have. And our perceptions of a bare pantry and a bare refrigerator and a what the heck is that freezer, are all different. So there's no judgment at all. We all have different lives. We all have different situations that we're dealing with. So this really saves money, especially at the end of a pay cycle. I mean, do you get paid once a month? It's not fun. So it can get challenging. My end of the month is sometime right about now. And so that's typically when you will see me go grocery shopping to stock up on what I need for the upcoming month, because this coming week is pay week for me. That's when I have to pay attention. That's when I have to make the most out of what I've got. It definitely will give you a boost What kind of boost is an empty refrigerator going to give me? I mean, seriously. No, it's going to boost your creativity, your ingenuity, because you can do this. You've got this. And it's a matter of knowing that you can do it, even if you don't want to, or even if you don't have to. Because necessity is the mother of invention, and she's a smart mama. Yes, she is. When you are forced to think outside of the box, okay, you discover new flavor combinations that you might not have considered before. You figure out different cooking techniques that you might not have otherwise tried. It's truly building culinary muscles, and these are muscles that need to be used in order to be successful. This is the ultimate food waste reduction, okay? Why? Why do you call it that? Because it's the final frontier of zero waste cooking. I mean, that's it. You're there, okay? You have what you consider to be an empty pantry. That is your zero waste cooking moment. You can do this. You're using up those forgotten ends and, odds and ends, and you're using up that little tiny bit of beans that are left, in the bag. You're using up all the little bits and pieces to create something that is edible and nutritious to get you through. And it is so empowering to know that you've got this. You really do. It's incredibly satisfying to create a satisfying meal out of nothing, out of something that you consider nothing, right? It builds confidence in your cooking skills. So empowering when you realize that you can do this, it is so empowering. And it reduces your reliance on grocery store trips because I think too many people are just going too often, like they don't have anything else to do. So, how do you approach a bare pantry moment? This is that moment, okay? You're going to open everything. It's the end of the month. You've got no money, whatever the case is, and you're going to open up your cupboards, you're going to open up your refrigerator and your freezer, and you're going to look and you're going to figure out what it is you've got, because that is your launching pad right there. That is what you're going to do. Don't just glance at it. Pull out those half-used bags of pasta, okay? That single potato that's just hanging out there. That lone can of, I don't know what this was or why I bought it, because that's going to help you create some amazing stuff. Check the freezer for the forgotten bag of frozen vegetables or a tiny piece of protein, because even a tiny piece of protein can create a heck of a meal. You want to check the fridge for sad-looking condiments or that one lonely egg. Again, it's amazing what you can make with those ingredients. But the reason why you're going to go through and you're going to look at whatever it is that is there, even when you say there's nothing there, it's because you can't make a plan if you don't know your resources, okay? You need to know what you have. You'll be surprised at what you find. I'm almost guaranteeing it. Now, you want to think about categories, not recipes. Forget the whole recipe thing. And I know that there's that fine line. There's people who use recipes as a suggestion. I'm one of those people, okay? Or there those people that use recipes as this is it, and that's the way it's got to be done. That that needs to go by the wayside. So you want to look at categories, not at recipes. You want to look at grouping similar items, okay? So when you group items, you're going to say, these are your proteins. So it's that unknown little piece of meat that's in the freezer or that single egg, right? That's your protein. You want to figure out what your carbs are. It's that little bit of pasta that you've got or, whatever. Fat, flavor, what kind of spices, what kind of stuff do you have there? Instead of what recipe can I make, try approaching it this way because you're going to have fun. Might you fail? You might fail, but it'll still be edible, okay? But think, do I have a carb? Pasta, rice, potato. Remember that potato? Maybe some bread. A protein. A can of beans or some tuna or that egg. Yes. Maybe a bit of cheese because that gives you the fat and the protein. Do you have oil? Do you have butter? Again, that's your fat, okay? And a flavor booster because spices are life. They really are. So, spices or stock cubes, that kind of thing. half of an onion, or maybe a little bit of garlic, because garlic's good. This framework makes it easier to build a meal from different items, from disparate items. Being able to just identify them and make sure that you've got the carb and the protein and the fat and the flavor. That's what you need. From that basis, you can create a bunch of different stuff, even if it's just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, right? So you want to embrace your creativity and your flexibility. This is that time. If you ever wanted to be creative, this is that time. Don't be rigid. There's no room for rigidity in the kitchen. Now, there's some chefs out there, Mackenzie, and they'll disagree with me. But they might also agree with me, because being in the kitchen is a great time to express your creativity, to try new things, to experiment a little bit, right? This isn't about Michelin stars. Nobody's going to give you that for your home kitchen. It's about satisfaction. It's about, being able to open something and having something unusual out of it. Be open to those unusual combinations, because those are going to create something fantastic for you. All it takes is just a little bit of guts to try it. So I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite bare pantry meals, okay? Because you get down to that bare minimum. In previous videos, I've mentioned how before, back in the day, I would go out and buy, sometime during the fall, a case of tomato-based products, right? Because you can create so much stuff from those. So let's take this as a before, a bare pantry meal. And it's everything but the kitchen sink. Bean and pasta, soup or stew, really, that's all. And it's literally everything but the kitchen sink, because you know what's going to fill you up? Soup fills you up, gives you the warm fuzzies, and fills your belly, and it's fantastic. So a few handfuls of whatever pasta, you find in the back of the cupboard. Even if it's a box of spaghetti, break that stuff up. It's pasta. It's just pasta. Doesn't matter what shape it is. A lonely can of diced tomatoes. Pull it out of the back of the cupboard, pet it, love it, hug it, squeeze it, and say, I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Let's do something amazing tonight, because you can create a lot of stuff off of that, right? You have this random can of beans. Take it, open it up, rinse it out, toss it in there. Any kind, literally any kind, okay? Maybe a little bit of onion, maybe a little bit of garlic, a stock cube, or some bouillon that you found in the back. Any dried herbs that you enjoy, okay? And a sad, almost casualty, celery or carrot stalk, dice it up, toss it in there. Whatever you can find. If you found that half-used bag of frozen vegetables in the back of the freezer, pull those out too. Put them in there. Soups/stews, everything but the kitchen sink. Literally everything but the kitchen sink. It's almost a no-fail recipe. Almost. Because I'm sure there's some combinations that might be just awful, but you're going to have to work really hard to figure them out. This works because it enables you to be flexible, highly flexible. Literally nothing is more flexible than everything but the kitchen sink soup. Nothing is more flexible. It uses up odd bits of, pasta or any type of canned bean. That's your protein right there. You don't even need to go out and get any meat. It's comforting, and it's filling, and it's flavorful from staples that you have in your household. Rely on those aromatics and those spices, those dried spices, because they're going to make life so much better for you. It's really just that simple. Take those vegetables that are on the cusp of going bye-bye, chop them up, saute them in a little bit of fat, whatever kind of fat you've got. We don't discriminate here, okay? Add those aromatics, that onion and that garlic, throw those in there. When you get those sauteed down, add some water, some broth, whatever. Add your stock or your bouillon cube to that. Add the beans to that. Boil that sucker and add the vegetables. You're good. You are good to go. You've got a good hearty soup/stew that's going to see you through probably a couple of days. Another last chance meal, I love these, to consider is a rice and egg scramble. Rice and eggs. Now, I'm not kidding you when I tell you that I am intimately familiar with a family who their parents as a very inexpensive side dish when there was no money, would serve rice with ketchup on it. Okay? It's a side dish. And if you grow up with it, you think it's normal and you think it's good and you actually crave it. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But it's somebody that I know very, very well. So, I mean, these things, it may sound odd to you, but that doesn't mean that it's not edible and not good. So, a rice egg scramble, fantastic. You're going to find that small container of leftover cooked rice, okay? Or maybe you've got a little bit of rice in the bottom of a jar somewhere in your cabinet. Use that. 1 to 2 eggs, perfect. Maybe a splash of soy sauce or some hot sauce if you like it better. Get some sriracha out of your fridge, right? Tiny bit of butter and oil, just a tiny, tiny bit. Maybe a leftover scallion or onion or something like that, and a pinch of whatever frozen vegetable you find in the freezer that's half opened and half eaten and getting ready to die a miserable hypothermic death. Real simple. Why this works is because it's literally ready in minutes. Okay, literally. Eggs provide quick, affordable protein, even with egg prices today, easily adapted with whatever condiments you have. So don't think of it as like a stir fry. Think of it as whatever you want. Okay, if you've only got taco seasoning in the house, add it. It's good. Yeah, taco seasoning goes on everything, doesn't it? Pancakes. Maybe not. Maybe not. But it is very, very versatile, very, very quick, and protein packed because eggs does the body good, right? Okay. So you're going to take that small amount of oil or butter that you have, whatever it is. You're going to add your cold leftover cooked rice, or you're going to make up a little bit of rice and throw that. Once it's cooked up, you're going to throw that in there, and you're going to press down on it in the oil and the butter once it starts heating up so that it gets those little crispy bits on it because, yeah, it'd be like hash browns. I mean, compare it to hash browns. You want those crispy bits on it. Crispy bits are important. Next, you're going to make a well in the center, just like if you're doing fried rice at home, right? You're going to make a well in the center of that pan or that pot, and you're going to drop the egg, take it out of the shell, in the middle. They cook very quickly, and then scramble it gently as it cooks. It's fantastic. Right in the same pot, right in that well. Once the egg is almost completely cooked, you're going to mix it with the rice. Don't do it before that. It's really hard to tell when it gets completely cooked. And if you don't like, anyway, add that splash of soy sauce, add a dash of hot sauce if that's your preference, right? Taco seasoning, I don't care. Maybe a little salt and pepper. And if you have some peas or corn or something in your freezer, toss that in there too. Simple, easy. Stir it all up, throw it on a plate, and you have the easiest meal ever. That's from little bits and pieces in the back of your refrigerator and your freezer and your pantry. It doesn't have to cost a lot to be a really good meal. There are some key principles for bare pantry cooking. There really are, okay? Number 1, focus on your flavor boosters. So dig through and find your flavor boosters. Those are your garlic powder, your bouillon cube, your little bit of onion, maybe the hot sauce or the soy sauce, that kind of thing. That's a flavor booster. They provide maximum flavor with minimal cost and space. So that's awesome because they're most likely in there already anyway, right? Next, embrace the textural variety. I know this is going to be hard for some people. For some people, they have real texture issues, and I get that. So this is not necessarily for you, but if you don't have texture issues, embrace that variety. Make it a little bit different. If you have some stale bread, make croutons out of it. Takes a little bit of oil, a little bit of seasoning. You have croutons. And that's good in soup in place of crackers. Croutons are great. They're great to snack on out of the bag. Actually, croutons are fantastic. But like making the rice similar to hash browns in that you're trying to get the crispy bits on there, right? It's fantastic. And having rice with those crispy bits, I'm going to have to go make some because I keep saying it and it's just so good. So, those are other ways that you can look at it. Remember that liquid is your friend. Water, along with a stock cube, can become broth in like no time flat. A splash of water can thin out or thicken a sauce, and it can hydrate something that's too dry. Water. along with being something that we seriously need, it can come to the rescue or it can save the day, or both. Depends on what you're trying to make, okay? It makes a little bit go a long way also. Sometimes just adding that little bit of extra water to it makes a big difference for lengthening what you're going to get out of there. Don't be afraid of the odd combinations. That's like really a key recommendation. Don't be afraid of the odd recommendations. I will happily eat some rice that I have cooked up like I would hash browns and make them crispy and put them next to eggs or mix them in with the eggs like I mentioned. But, you know, it's different, but it can be still really, really good. And it might be something that you enjoy better. You never know. Sometimes those last few items, they might lead to an unconventional combination that you will keep making as you move forward. A small bit of leftover cooked meat with a can of chickpeas, right? And some dried herbs. Hello, give it a shot. You might actually discover a new favorite. And that is one of my favorite things about this. How many of us out there have actually pulled all kinds of random stuff out and just tossed it into a pot and made this incredible dish, and you will never be able to replicate it. You will never be able to replicate it because you were literally going off the cuff and it turned out so good. I have done that more times than I can count, and I have tried to go back and replicate it. I have immediately written down what I did and still could not replicate it again. Sometimes just flying off the cuff with your recipes or your suggestions is the best meal you're going to have. All right, my resourceful chefs, what's your most surprisingly delicious meal made from a near bare pantry? Share your ultimate nothing to eat recipe in the comments section down below. Share with some other folks here because you know the hive mentality is the best in this community is amazing. You guys are fantastic. And I know that you are going to mention some things that I am just going to have to try. So if you toss it down there, I promise I will pick one. And this weekend, I will whip it up and give it a try. So the next time your pantry looks bare, don't despair, my friends. Don't despair. It's okay. You will make it, okay? Remember, an empty pantry or a near empty pantry is an invitation to be creative. It is like the open, welcome arms saying, let's do something amazing because you can do it. By doing an honest inventory of what's in there, focusing on your categories and using those flavor boosters, that's a big key right there. You can make unexpectedly delicious meals, save money by putting off going to the store another day, right? Waste literally nothing because you're using up those bits and pieces and scraps that are going to sit there and turn to mush and not be any good. I hope that this helped. I hope this lets you take a look at what's actually in your refrigerator and your pantry, your cabinets, you know. Take a look at it, what's actually there. I have regular comments that say I don't have a pantry and I don't have any food. And I challenge you, even if you think you do, to look in there and look at those odd things that are in your refrigerator and your freezer and your pantry, the last little bit of something that you just can't bear to throw away, but you haven't used yet. Figure out a way to use it. Figure out how to make something amazing. I look forward to hearing your amazing empty pantry recipes in the comments section down below. Do you have any other hints and tips for people with empty pantries? Toss it down below. I love the hive mentality. You guys are amazing. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.